this to you. I mean, I get reports coming through this afternoon that Jeremy Paxman signed a new deal, probably the same deal I'm going to get, 4 years, £800,000 a year, which is lovely. I come to you, Jonathan, and say, look, I'm going to get £800,000 a year from the BBC for the next 4 years. Where can I invest it to make even more money?
Well, you should certainly be using all your tax-efficient savings vehicles, such as pensions and capital trusts and ISAs. Those who look purely at the stock market need to take into account that the market's up 90% in the last 2 years. The economy is dire. Inflation's rising. Is this really the time to get involved in the stock market? I think people should be focused on capital preservation until the stock market bottoms out, and then there'll be lots of investment opportunities.
See, I've got 1 or 2 ideas you can invest in.
I'm just wondering, maybe I don't want to earn £800,000 a year, 50p tax rate. Maybe I'd rather just stuff it in the mattress.
You wouldn't know what to do with the money, Roberto, would you?
Do you know what? I actually would. That's the problem.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks travel.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, the M1, we've got problems north and southbound this evening through the area. The northbound side is part blocked between junctions 10 and 11. That's Luton to Dunstable. This is because of an accident. And again, this is in the queues for an accident further northbound, where there were 2 lanes closed because of an accident at 13 for Bedford. Now, I think in the past few minutes they've opened up the 2 lanes which are closed at junction 13 for Bedford, but we've still got long queues right the way back towards junction 9 for Redbourne, and still definitely going to send quite a bit of extra considerable traffic through Dunstable and Luton and surrounding areas. The southbound side, there's a lane out because of a broken down vehicle 13 down to 12. That's Bedford to Flitwick. Traffic slow there, and again it was already slow as people were slowing down to look at this accident on the northbound side. And further southbound from 12 down to 11, that's Flitwick to Dunstable, slow because of an accident there as well. Elsewhere, Bedford, the Cardington Road is closed because of an accident from the East Cots Road through to the A5134. St Albans, London Road looking slow because the traffic lights around Lattimore Road aren't working. In Denham, the A40 on the Oxford Road, 2 lanes closed from Denham Avenue to the M40 while they remove a footbridge. And on the trains, First Capital connects Great Northern Route still has disruption after overhead line problems at Drayton Park earlier on. Paul Murphy, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Paul, thank you. More from Paul just before 7 tonight.
If it's safe and legal, tell us what's happening on the roads where you are.
08459 455 555.
Hello, this is Hugh Edwards, and if you still want to see me on the TV after the digital switchover, you need to get ready. Otherwise, you'll lose your channels. But if you're eligible disabled or 75 and over, there's help at hand. The Switchover Help Scheme can arrange for an approved installer to supply and install everything you need to switch one TV to digital.
Don't lose your TV favourites. Call the help scheme free on 0800 40 85 900. That's 0800 40 85 900.
BBC Three Counties Radio tonight from 7 o'clock. Luke Ashmead presenting the MK Dons Fans Forum live from Stadium MK. We'll also have updates on Stevenage at Bury. Three Counties Sport with Luke straight after Drive Time.
This is Drive
With Roberto Perroni.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
13 minutes to 7. We're talking money and business with Viv Starkis, Jonathan Davis and Karen Frick. We talked banks and taxes and economy. I brought up the issue of Jeremy Paxman, this supposed deal he's done with the BBC, a 20% pay cut, of course. In fact, let's talk about the BBC. Of course, it is a public body. What's the perception in your world from the BBC, Karen?
Well, I think the BBC is a wonderful organisation.
And well worth every penny.
Indeed.
Good.
Especially
Yes,
Three Counties.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
couldn't agree more.
Exactly.
I think,
Jonathan?
for my part, I think the BBC does some amazing things which you couldn't get in the private sector. You couldn't get Radio 4, you couldn't get Radio 3, you couldn't get local radio with the current affairs and news and entertainment that you get. But I do have to question why. BBC Radios 1 and 2 are in the public sector. They're pure entertainment. Why do we have Strictly Come Dancing on public sector television? Why do we have property porn at 9 o'clock on a BBC One?
Those property porn programmes at 9 o'clock when I drop the kids off and have a cup of coffee are great programmes, even though some of them are repeats.
But they're just copies of what we see on independent television.
Just explain to Viv, property porn are these programmes where they go around, buy properties at auction, they do them up, flog them again. It's not porn in that respect.
I was worried for a moment
property
there.
porn. Karen, you're blushing a little bit.
I'm sorry. I just looked at Viv's face.
He was very shocked there. Jonathan.
This is the BBC, isn't it?
I'm just saying that, you know, we're paying, what is it now, 140, 150 quid a year per household for the licence, and I'm just thinking to myself, that's a tax which part of it could be reduced, because part of what the BBC, I just don't think, should be in the public sector.
But programmes like Strictly Come Dancing are phenomenally successful.
Great. Why should it be in the public sector?
But surely it's
Therefore,
about
it'll get lots of
entertainment,
advertising.
isn't it? Surely.
Sorry?
I mean, the BBC is also about entertainment, surely. You know, and it's not all about news and niche programming. After all, money should be put into, you know, programmes that people actually would like to watch.
I don't think ITV would ever make a programme like Strictly Come Dancing. They emulate it with the Strictly Dancing on Ice, whatever they call it, but they would never have the creativity to create that kind of programme. Unfortunately, that tax, and we all pay it, of course. We don't get any discount for working for the corporation.
Come on, Roberto. They've got Simon Cowell, and BBC have copied everything that Simon Cowell's done for the last 5 years.
They've tried bits of what Simon Cowell does is great for ITV. Would never work on the BBC.
But that's my point. They do phenomenally successful big entertainment shows on ITV. And all I'm saying is we're paying £140, £150 a year for some things which are pure entertainment, which could be funded by advertisers.
And when you hear about big name stars at the BBC earning huge amounts of money, how does that make you? Well, I can tell you how it makes me feel, but how does it make you feel in the real world, Viv?
Well, you've got to appreciate, I think, that people that are working at that level do command that sort of salary. So if they're not going to get it with the BBC or wherever, they will get it somewhere. So if that's the rate for the going rate for the market, it's the going rate for the market.
Karen?
I think the BBC makes some fantastic programmes. I mean, there's a programme on at the moment, for example, Human Planet, which is an absolute triumph.
Totally
fantastic.
You know, and I think the BBC does get. I think it gets a raw deal.
Do you know how
national treasure.
expensive those programmes are to
Exactly,
make? It's
and
phenomenal.
that is why those programmes are made by the BBC. You can sit of an evening in front of your Sky television and you can have 100 and however many channels it is, but only one will have that programme on it, and that is BBC. So, you know, for the licence fee, which really, if you break it down on a monthly, sort of basis, what you actually get for your money, you get all the radio stations, all the BBC channels.
You're talking my language.
You've got the website, as far as I'm saying, I actually think that's incredibly good value for money.
Karen, if you lived hand to mouth, which literally millions of folk in this country do, you wouldn't be saying £10 a month is, I can't remember the phrase, but basically very easy to fund.
Having said that, what always baffles me is people who perhaps aren't earning very good money. They will moan about paying the licence fee to the BBC for all the radio and the TV, but they're quite happy to buy a big flat screen TV because they've got to have Sky at £60 a month.
Again, well, I'm sure you'll have examples of that. All I'm saying is the licence fee is literally a licence to print money for the BBC. You've got newsreaders. I'm sorry, I think it's inappropriate that a newsreader earns £60,000 a month. It's entirely inappropriate. You've got big presenters earning £2 million a year. You've got senior managers earning
but that's what the market demands. In the city,
no, that's
for example,
not true.
In the city, that's chicken feed.
No. The city is a law unto itself, and I am the first, and I've said it already several times, we are paying too much to the city, absolutely. But the public sector, being the BBC, I think it's outrageous that we're paying over £1 million in total benefits to senior managers of the BBC, a taxed body. I think that's absolutely outrageous.
Okay. What's your favourite programme on the BBC, Jonathan?
My favourite programme on the BBC? Well, there's a question.
Not Strictly.
Well, Strictly's okay.
7!
What? Come back to me when I think about my favourite programme on the BBC.
Viv, what is your favourite programme on the BBC?
I love the David Attenborough programmes, Planet Earth and things like that, so they're my favourite.
I'm with Viv on that one, yes, definitely.
Actually, I've realised I'm not actually watching much television at the moment, because with young children, the only TV I get to see is CBeebies. So,
paid for by the BBC.
Absolutely, I'm all for it.
Yes,
I'm all
indeed.
for it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the things which don't have to be publicly funded, why are they publicly funded?
BBC's a national treasure. I love it.
Yeah, I agree.
We're rapidly running out of time. It's been fantastic time. Karen, you have a great business. You're obviously very proud of what you do, Little Monkey Murals
yes.
in Bedford. If you could have any other business, what would it be? What would you do?
Well, actually, there are two other businesses which I would like to do. One is and I would hope that maybe one day I will actually achieve these goals, but I would like to very much have a restaurant which is dedicated purely for children. So they could
You'll
come
never
in.
make any money.
That sounds like fun.
No, seriously. No, you'd be amazed. I have two young children. Taking them to a restaurant and trying to eat a meal with my husband in peace is an impossibility. It would be.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It worked for McDonald's.
Well, no, yeah, McDonald's is one thing. What I'm talking about is an interactive area where people could come, mothers, during the day. They could have coffee mornings. There's areas where an adult. McDonald's is great. It's fast food, and that's brilliant.
You're doing a proper restaurant
I
facility.
am, yes, where you can have proper food for children. They can sit. They can have sausage, beans on toast. Now, you can have sausage, beans and toast in many different ways. You know, you can have an area for them to go and play. You can have lovely sofas for mums to sit, have coffee, chat, where they know that their kids are safe and they're off and they're playing. That's one of my businesses.
Nice. Don't forget about the dads, because we need
dads
coffee
can come
and
too. Yeah,
relaxing
exactly.
and putting off it as well.
Yeah.
Viv, you might have to go into business at some stage later this year. I hope not.
It's an option.
What would you do?
I don't know. I think I enjoy doing what I'm doing at the moment and supporting people that are looking to start their own businesses. So ideally, it would be something in that field. But it depends whatever I can make
If somebody
money
listening
at.
tonight is a big time Charlie businessman, someone in the Three Counties thinks, I like the sound of that, Viv. I want to take him on board in my organisation. What could you do for them?
What could I do for them? I think I could help them to look at their business and bring fresh ideas into the business and help them to develop in a way that would make them more profitable.
Jonathan, I've got a fantastic idea for you for the future, because you're a very passionate man. Your local MP is very good. Do you not fancy challenging him in your area of Hertfordshire?
I know Charlie Walker very well, as it happens, and we get on very well. No, I have zero interest in getting involved in politics, because as far as I'm concerned, politicians are all a shower.
But why not go there and make a difference? You in the House of Commons would be entertaining.
Well, I'll tell you, because what I espouse, people wouldn't vote for. I'm espousing that we should have rigour in an economy, because that will give us long-term strength, and actually people don't really want to hear that.
I have to say, it's been an absolute pleasure tonight meeting you all three of you. You've got to come back, aren't you?
Love to.
Lovely. Viv Starkis, Jonathan Davis, Karen Frick, pleasure having you in tonight.
Thank you.
It's been feisty.
Thanks very much.